case some names are shushed, like Mayella, Mayella, Mayella are hushed. It's Patrick Cruz, yes, El Paso family. They're in the federal courthouse, literally, because his brother Brian married a Mayella. Cause Patrick's brother married a so matters, they knew, kept it hush-hush, in a quid pro quo, money rush. Courthouse favors for a fake news show. They're bias, it's clear as you know. So they built a lie designed to divide, attacking Trump while the truth set aside. With a fake story, the false narrative grew, smearing Trump's name, deceiving me and you. Michael Mayella, the father pulling strings, Menange's judge, got a Rama's court. Cha-chings gave courthouse favors for a fake news show, so the media lets Mayella's names lay low. Cruz just had no ties, they clamored in the news, but they're in the chamber wearing courthouse shoes. And Michael Jr., the brother of the bride, interned at the DA's side. Also with the dirty FBI leaker who tattletaled while at Walmart where the security failed. What the hell? So they built a lie designed to divide, attacking Trump while the truth set aside. With a fake story, the false narrative grew, smearing Trump's name, deceiving me and you. El Paso matters, more like El Paso hush, a quid pro quo, money rush. Courthouse favors for a fake news show. They're bias, it's clear as you know. With Bob Moore whispering lies in our ear, no truth, no integrity, year after year. They let it roll, they let the falsehoods fly, bury the truth while the real stories die. They painted Cruz just as a hater of Brown, a fake white supremacist just to drag Trump down. And Michael Jr., the brother of the bride, interned at the DA's side. With his scars of Montoya and Nieto, the FBI leak a tattletale. Wow, and in Walmart where security failed, where security failed, security failed, where security failed. Justice for Richard Halliday.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are at 1,886 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss, and his life was brutally taken. He was taken to a room that was, well, you couldn't hear anything. You couldn't hear, a soundproof room, and his life was taken from him. The evidence shows that he fought back. He fought back very, very hard. But his life was taken from him, and his remains, his body was stolen off of Fort Bliss. It was dismembered, and this explains why we have 3 autopsy numbers, right? And they trafficked his remains. So this is a U.S. Army soldier, and it is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case. It's connected to Woody Hunt's Mormon faction group that are connected to the cartel and are up to no good, doing anything. They'll do anything to keep that border open and to make billions. Some people will just do anything to make billions. And even if it's the worst of the worst type of crimes, right? Enabling the worst of the worst type of crimes. against national security, against the president of the United States. It absolutely has hit the level of treason. That's why um, this case and the Walmart case has hit the level of the Supreme Court now, the highest law of the land, and also, um, with President Trump. Uh, it's a huge case. It makes the Iran Contra look like child's play, look like baby's play. And so, and we have documented that. We're not just saying it. We're not elevating it. It is at those levels, and it is documented that it's at those levels. Um, and we're not over exaggerating the crime that has been committed. It has been documented. It's in hard evidence, and of course, the letters from President Trump and the White House, two of them that came on August 6th and then on August 7th. I happen to like the August 7th letter a lot, a lot. Really sad, but I like the letter a lot. Like both of them. The first one's all about accountability, and that's coming. And so, but we want to lay it out tonight, why this is treason, right? Why what these people have done is just threatened the entire United States, could have undone the entire United States, the presidency, and that they would go to any length with their vicious and vile activity. They would go at any length, and that's why they're connected to these assassination attempts. That's why they're connected to the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the assassination of our son. Um, and of course, the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting. And, of course, we've had huge moments of discovery. God's hand has been on this all the way until, when you look at the entire cases and how they're intertwined and how we receive the evidence that just unraveled the evil conspiracy, right? Because it is a conspiracy, it is an orchestration, it is a Mormon faction with a cartel, with foreign and domestic enemies, and our institutions that conspired together. Okay, it's a conspiracy, and it is. I would say it's a big T organization. I don't know how President Trump is going to deal with the domestic, the Antifa situation. We're watching that very carefully, to make it legal for, these mutineers. Really, these mutineers. That's what traitors are, right? They're mutineers would be like in the military, the generals and that. You see that is coming out very clearly. They are absolutely exposing themselves in the military. Tomorrow's going to be a very big day, meeting with all the generals. I think it's like 800 of. We're very top heavy. We don't need to have that many generals, 4-star generals, and then the flag officers. We don't need to have that many, y'all. So I hope there's what they call a riff. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I don't know what's going to happen, because there's so many other things that are going on around the world. Because we are in this spiritual battle, right? This spiritual battle that turns kinetic. And today is is Saint Michael and All the Angels Day. Well, it's 4 minutes past. We're burning the midnight oil, but I hope you had a really good one. We were doing all kinds of angel crafts, um, recognizing that we are not alone. Of course, God is always with us, but God even gives us His heavenly host, right? His heavenly host, the vast amount of very, very powerful angels. And so those are our fellow servants, fellow battle buddies, that never, ever, ever leave your six. They've got your six. They've got your six. The angels of God have got your six, and they are our hedge, uh, and our battle buddies, and they are absolutely faithful and true. And this is something that I think does not get said enough in church, or um, eh, to our own children, um, uh, because that really provides a lot of courage. It provides a lot of courage, and when you see how God has revealed the evil in this case, the evidence of it to us, you just have a skip in your walk, right? Because um, your faith has been strengthened, right? So, and anytime our faith is strengthened, it gives us a song in our heart, a skip in our walk. Um, there's a joy, there's an energy level that goes up, that it gives us good health. It gives us good health. So, yeah, so I hope to explain that to you today. One little part of it that really revealed um, Woody Hunt. He's a billionaire, okay? He's a billionaire, and he's very established in El Paso, and he is the power broker for El Paso, and a huge power broker in his Mormon faction, and connected to all the way up to Utah. And he is a big power broker in the military, okay, with the generals. He's a big power broker. He's a big power broker with sports. Um, when you're targeting sports, when you're targeting um, the military, you're targeting young men, right? You're targeting young men. Um, and uh, uh, that's that. Well, I know that that's the case because of what happened to our son, what happened to many, many others. But our son, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier, who um, really was uncompromised enough, um, uncompromised, so that he could blow the whistle, and that he could talk about the cartel tied criminal trafficking. He could talk about what he knew, because it's connected with his unit, individuals in his unit, the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting, that the military were involved in that, um, and that he could talk about that the real aim of that, um, and of course, th- there it's complicated. It's complicated because of the 23 that were viciously killed, and that's a whole investigation in itself. But that the main target was President Trump, was the United States, our national security, the election, President Trump's administration, President Trump personally. Woody Hunt went after him. And why do I say that with such confidence? because the evidence said so, right? I mean, you act like a duck, you walk like a duck, you quack like a duck, you're a duck. If your organization is targeting um, President Trump and our country, and you're up to no good, and you're trying to uh, uh, deliberately, with false information, sway elections, and your person, Representative Veronica Escobar, she's a total Woody Hunt person, um, has is the co-chair for not only the Biden but also for the Kamala Harris campaign. Um, her hand on the $1.2 billion, controlling the $1.2 billion. The co-chair is not a small group, right? Uh, it is, or a small position. It is a huge position. The whole Beto O'Rourke and Raphael Caron living right next to Beto O'Rourke, and Beto O'Rourke being Woody Hunt's person to become president, to get the White House. The very group wanting to get the White House, of course, was targeting President Trump, and targeting very illegally, okay, very unlawfully, very vile, very vicious, doing whatever very evil people do, to try to get power, to try to keep that border open. It's about the border policy, about the security of the United States. Woody Hunt, absolutely works to breach national security with uh, with his power broker actions, right? With his power broker actions, he wants to keep that border open and criminally trafficking, and he wants to absolutely compromise our soldiers by keeping that base compromised, also the security compromised. None of that, because he controls 80% of military housing contracts. So all of those breaches in security, he absolutely had the power to allow or to make sure that that security was followed. But he had a person inside that kept it open, that kept the drugs flowing in, that kept the girls coming in, the very young girls coming in, that they would videotape, the 14-year-old girl living for 4 months, okay, in the barracks, being used and abused, sold out to compromise our soldiers, videotapes, everything. Um, uh, and the person that he had in there was DES Thomas Kane. Thomas Kane is part of the Mormon faction. Um, and not only that, Park University, not only that, LLCs that, it's all hard evidence that connects to this faction. And of course, his very, very close relationship to Ann Ogle, the CYS director in charge of children, and Fort Bliss. Can't forget trafficking hundreds of thousands of children, okay, that are now mostly not alive anymore, okay, that have lost their lives. And so, none of that would happen um, if the FBI was also doing their job. And the FBI, well, let's stay on Fort Bliss for a minute, if the CID was doing their job. But the faction had an inside man in the CID, several. Uh, And of course, Tavita Nusa was one of them. CID agent Tavita Nusa. His his actions were so abusive that they couldn't hide it, and he lost his badge in 2021. Okay, he not that he lost his badge; it was terminated. It was revoked. His badge was revoked. Of course, he was having a very intimate relationship with Leilani Hart, prime suspect in our son's case, and the mother of another prime suspect, Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart. Also up to no good, also part of the faction. Also very connected to Dreams Cabaret, right? Dreams Cabaret. Um, that was also not up, that they weren't up to any good either. And HHS secretary warned that these children were taken to like 40 at a time to strip joints and empty lots. And it just happens that Dreams Cabaret is a strip joint. Dreams Cabaret has an empty lot beside it, right next to the Texas Department of Public Transportation, and right next to FedEx. FedEx, um, oh, FedEx, it'll come to me. Um, and of course, FedEx, the Memphis problem is the FedEx problem too. There's something going on with this FedEx stuff. So the big, yeah, gosh, the word just escapes me. But um, you can look on the maps that I've put up and everything, and all those connections. Um, and so Woody Hunt absolutely uh, had control. And of course, we know that the generals are compromised, that they're mutineers, that they are absolutely more loyal to this faction than they are to their uniform, to their stars, to their oath of office. So I don't know if President Trump is going to address that tomorrow to like Sean Bernabe, right? Sean Bernabe and James Eisenhower, and now Curtis Taylor, and including James um, Stewart. And there's a bunch of retired generals too, and that. But um, yeah, so we'll see, because they are absolutely up to no good. I mean, they're absolutely treasonous. They're traitors. There's just no, you just gotta call it out. There's just a rose is a rose, right? A rose is a rose, and a traitor is a traitor, and a traitor commits treason, and that's what they've done. That's what they've done, and they cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted at all. And you see the uh, the stories coming out with the inner circle of like Charlie Kirk, that this was absolutely um, uh, something that needs to be investigated, because there's so many allegations out there, very, very close to Charlie Kirk. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see that kind of treason, that kinds of traitors. Um, uh, and I don't know if you would call it treason when it comes to Charlie Kirk. I guess it would be, because it's connected to this border. It's connected to President Trump. It's connected to national security. So yes, I would call it treason now. You have to really think everything through. Why they stopped Charlie Kirk? What was the motive to not let him have his little powwows at the universities? These little debates. Um, and it was absolutely to stop his influence, and affect the voting, the youth voting for President Trump, and also to want to make America great again, right? So this is a national security issue and threat, and those working against it. So, and then of course you have those that are on the outside of Fort Bliss, that are absolutely little puppets for, or part of the Mormon faction. Their loyalties to the Mormon faction, but they've infiltrated like the FBI. And we know Colin Whitten and his wife. Colin Whitten is the assistant FBI special agent in charge. And this is a huge, huge position. And he knew what was going on in the Walmart mass shooting case. He absolutely knew what was going on in our son's case. And the cartel involved in it. I mean, my goodness, El Mayo's lawyer involved in it. So he absolutely knew. And of course, he engaged in obstruction of justice and the tampering of witnesses and the tampering of evidence. And, I mean, I'm going to leave it up to the lawyers, to the professionals to really outline the treason. But I can tell you this, I know a bad song when I hear it. And this is a bad song, and the bad song's name is treason. Okay. And so Connell Witten, absolutely, is singing that very, very bad song. So that needs to be addressed. Um, and then, of course, in the um, county clerk's office, we have Delia Briones, and we have judges, and we have um, Anthony Ayun. He absolutely knew about all of this too. We have Penny Hamilton. Well, she's just a nobody, right? Because she's not even a legitimate justice. Um, not even a legitimate judge. We have Bill Hicks, and of course, we have James Bonneau Montoya, and we have a very big player in all of this is Jaime Esparza. Now, Jaime Esparza has kind of been behind the scenes a little bit, but I want to tell you, he's like right in the center, or he's right in the center of all of this, with Valenzuela and Rick Francis and um, and other big players. Um, Joe Spencer absolutely knew, and Judge David Campos Guadarrama. And of course, there's also the Mexican side of all of this, right? And I would say the Mexican side would be Alexander Gerhard Hofmann, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, Governor Maru Campos, and many, many more, Cesar Haragi, um, and Carlos Manuel Salas, right? Um, many over on the Mexican border, on the Mexican side as well, because the temple's over there. And all of this trafficking was a collusion and conspiracy, and the working together with transnational criminal trafficking. Okay. And it's interesting how President Trump is pressuring Mexican President Scheinbaum to allow the United States more water. Something is going on with the water, okay? These water Nazis, right? And I've always said, like, even through the COVID, I said, what in the world? If you want people to be healthy, you don't strap them in their house, right? You get them out in the sunshine, because the sun is the best disinfectant. You get them out in the sunshine, because the sunshine is, it's the best. And you give them very cheap, clean water. Not Cobra Strikes, very clean, crystal clean, cheap water. Let everybody have beautiful, crystal clean water, and people will be so much healthier and go outside in the beautiful sunshine. And, El Paso doesn't lack beautiful sunshine. Get people out there and give them beautiful, clean, crystal clean water. We have all the technology to do it. Why they want us sick, I don't know. And you know that they want you sick if they don't give you beautiful, clean, crystal, crystal pure water, right? So and for bathing, for drinking, for cooking, for the animals, to make the animals that we eat healthier, to make the vegetables in the garden that drink that water to make our food healthier, for the fruit trees to make our fruit healthier. I mean, water is it, right? Water is it. And then to energize it, you can energize water, you can structure it, It has memory. It's proven to have memory. It's a lot of power. There's a lot of power in water. And I don't think that we are taught enough about it. And when you go and do a little research, you can learn all about it. It's just really amazing. So there's some, what I'm saying is that these big billionaires are up to no good. They're up to no good because they've created an environment that enriches themselves but hurt others. And not only hurt others, but also divide, and in order to hurt countries, to damage national security, to incite violence against President Trump and those that support him, like my son, absolutely, like our family. Um, and uh, and so there's this major hatred because it was groomed, it was incited, it was instigated, however you want to say it. And Woody Hunt is the power broker for that, okay? Woody Hunt is the power broker. He can talk all of the benevolence with his El Paso Community Foundation. All he wants, talk is cheap. He can give like a million here, a million there, or whatever, but then he'll go and make it all back tenfold through bonds and raising taxes on people and the criminal trafficking and everything like that. It's all deceptive. He's deceptive, and he could have made it beautiful, but he didn't. He's deceptive and he's greedy, and he's a traitor. He's a traitor of the worst kind, allowing crimes of the worst kind. Okay, so thank you, Laura, for coming on. Thank you so much. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anicia, for coming on. And thank you, Danielle. And the breaking news is that we have reached the Supreme Court level. We have reached the presidential level, the White House level. And we have worked very, very hard behind the scenes, um, institutionally. And but this crime is so big, y'all. It's just so big that that's what it takes. And so let me explain it to you a little bit why I just posted up an article, just a screenshot of a cover of an article from El Paso Matters by Debbie Nathan, that was written, published on July 29th of 2020. Okay. Um, right there, right then, when all this was happening with Richard, I don't know if she got a little guilty, because we absolutely know that this group knew for this whole time. They absolutely knew, and the names that knew about all of this are going to shock you. And Debbie Nathan and her friends and all around knew what was going on. And I think I think she just could not stand it, or she had a guilty conscience, and she wrote this article. And this article, and it's just amazing that the snake, sorry, the snake eats the tail, eats its own tail. El Paso Matters is controlled by El Paso Community Foundation, which is Woody Hunt. Okay. And of course, Sylvia Barunda Firth sits on the board of El Paso Community Foundation, as well as the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. So that's very important in all of this to understand the institutional blight, right? The institutional blight by this faction. And it got very brazen, and it absolutely started El Paso Matters. Bob Moore absolutely answers to number one, Woody Hunt, right? Woody Hunt. He answers to Woody Hunt because even though Texas Tech University Health Science Center gives huge donations to that, Texas Tech University Health Science Center power broker is Woody Hunt, just like Texas Tribune, USA Today, El Paso Matters, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it goes on and on. When you know where Woody Hunt is, it explains the malfeasance around it, right? And the crimes. Because he's up to no good, right? He's up to no good. And El Paso Matters is up to no good. And we just wondered why. Why are they so biased, right? Why are they so biased? And why aren't they reporting on Richard's case properly, right? Because they're a 501c3. They get tax breaks, right? So why aren't they, answering our phone calls, our text messages, our emails, our, they the one time that they reached out to talk to us is when as a comment on one of my live streams where I was saying that Patrick Crucius was autistic, that I suspected him of being very autistic because of watching him, and that as a teacher, my training and my experience, because I taught children with autism, was to identify this kind of behavior. And I said it. I said it very early on when it wasn't reported. Um, and he came on and go, "Oh, Patrick Crucius isn't autistic," and he knew all along that he was. He knew all along that he was because he's part of this faction, and this faction is part of Michael Mayella. Michael Mayella, the manager of the federal courthouse that handles the cases, right? The cases that go through the federal courthouse, which includes the Walmart mass shooting case under the federal Walmart mass shooting case under Judge David Campos Guadarrama. And so, Judge Guadarrama knew exactly who Michael Mayella is, and we know that that Debbie Nathan knew who Mayella is because she wrote about him, because she went and interviewed him right there in the halls of the federal courthouse. And he requested that his name be kept quiet, right? He wanted his name to be kept quiet, um, and what that did, and El Paso Matters did that. Now why did they want that? They wanted to promote the false narrative of Patrick Crucius. Why did they want to promote a false narrative about Patrick Crucius? They wanted to say that he was a white supremacist. Okay? That's what they wanted. They wanted to make him out to be a white supremacist. It's not so much about him saying, oh, this was a random hit, even though that's part of it, that he didn't know anyone in El Paso and that this was a random hit. That's part of it, right? That's deception. But the big thing is they wanted to make him to be a white supremacist, and Michael Mayella knew that he wasn't, and Alexis Mayella knew that he wasn't, and Brian Blake Crucius, Alexis Mayella's husband, yeah, the brother of Patrick Crucius, and we have the marriage certificate. Um, and of course, all the other posts and everything like that. Um, and yeah, they knew that Patrick Crucius wasn't able to be a white supremacist because he was autistic, that he was severely autistic. He was banging his head when he was a little kid on the sidewalk. He failed kindergarten because he was put aside. He couldn't even participate in kindergarten. He had in special education class, right? He couldn't even participate in that correctly. And I know all about that because I've been in those classrooms. I've taught in those classrooms. Um, that that he couldn't even participate um, with even those simple classes, right? With even those simple groups, and that he didn't speak until he was about 6 years old. This is all confirmed in all the hard evidence that we have that we've put out there, and that he has other severe mental health conditions. Just when you have autism, you have sometimes other severe mental health conditions. And so everything about the Walmart mass shooting could have been clarified by the Mayella's testimony, because Lorraine Mayella is, her job is in mental health. Um, and so we don't even know if Lorraine Mayella was treating Patrick Crucius. Was she treating him? Right? And were there co-conspirators with the Walmart mass shooting, with Richard's case, right? Because Richard's case is part of this group. Were these co-conspirators in this? Did they know anything about it? Um, and the list of all of the obstruction and all of the way they could have participated in interference in the case itself in the federal courthouse, because they were right there in the federal courthouse. They were also in the FBI office that they could have tampered, also in the Walmart mass shooting. I mean, in the Walmart cybersecurity and with the cameras, they were there. That this family had a job in there, and also in the DA's office, in the prosecuting office under Jaime Esparza. Jaime Esparza knew the Mayellas because Michael G. Mayella worked for him with of course James Bonneau Montoya. They had a history. So uh, and and they kept it all quiet so that they could do a political and personal attack of white supremacy and then say it was Trump's fault. It was his fault, that this false narrative, uh, you know, so they wanted to affect the election. They wanted to hurt President Trump. They wanted to hurt the policies of President Trump by pitting the population against him, not only against him, but against each other, because they were saying that this was all about Hispanics. The main people, uh, you know, you have to look at who was killed. This, of course, there's going to be a Hispanic population there that are affected because that area is Hispanic. Okay, it's very Hispanic, but for Patrick Crucius to surrender himself to Hispanic police officers very nicely and kindly. I mean, it was kind. It was, he did it in a kind way. And then in the interrogation video, he's talking to two Hispanics. He's being so kind to them and they're being so kind back. There's no animosity there. There's no white supremacy animosity there. And he even admits to it and this alleged um, um, manifesto even says there's nothing like that going on, but they wanted to frame this false narrative around President Trump to hurt him, to hurt national security because they wanted to affect the the border policies. And this incited and instigated real uh, violence against President Trump. He's had two attempts on his life, real violence against our son, Richard Halliday, and real violence against Charlie Kirk and many others, and many others. So this is eh, the fact that they just kept Mayella's name out of it is not the only problem with this, y'all. Uh, he essentially was saying, take us out of the entire case, witnesses, witness testimony, evidence, everything, and it really uh, is now showing uh, the level of crime that Woody Hunt went to do this, okay? Because he knew who Michael Mayella was. He knew that Michael Mayella's son was getting married. I mean, daughter was getting married to Patrick Crucius's brother. He knew all of that because those are the circles that he runs in. And so did Colin Whitten. And so did Tavita Nusa. And, because of the Fort Bliss connections and all of this. And so did others that talked to us day in and day out for years. They knew. They knew this and they kept it a secret. And this is a huge criminality. And that's why we're at the Supreme Court level now. And of course, President Trump's level. And these people need to be held accountable. And it's going to be a little bit of a shocker for people when people finally start, like Comey, have to pay the price. And I hope that Veronica Escobar, that Beto O'Rourke, that Woody Hunt are going to be held accountable for all of their evil deeds because they absolutely knew that's their job. Veronica Escobar absolutely knew. And instead of wanting to solve crime and secure the border and secure Fort Bliss, um, she absolutely targeted us, targeted Rob, y'all, and was so hateful against Richard, really hateful. So this is, a huge breaking news. Um, and I hope everyone understands that. And that's just one little part that here we were investigating another person who is friends with Debbie Nathan. And so when we saw Debbie Nathan working for El Paso Matters, we came across this article because it was very interesting. Anyone that works for El Paso Matters, for Angela Kachurga at KTEP and um, Dallas Morning News, where her husband worked, are suspicious to us, and we look into this. And to see uh, this these hints in this article, and I posted that article up. I hope you go to that article um, and read it carefully, and you'll see what we mean by it. So she tells the story without revealing their name, and it just gets buried, right? It gets buried. But because of Richard's case and because of God, you know, and the brazenness of them to even put it, the very media outlet that is used to do so much harm is eating its own tail. That's what's happening here. So it's exposing the treacherous um, activities of Woody Hunt. His own media is doing that. Okay. And so that's huge, huge news there. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. In the elect me for Veronica Escobar, she said she was going to protect children. Veronica Escobar is up to no good. And get ready to hear. That's why I'm saying you need to really focus on some good things, because what you're about to hear is pretty sickening. Literally, it will make you sick. That's why you need to stay into clean water, clean air, sing songs, do the things that, really energize you and everything. Um, Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Stay away from all of the very toxic things. Stay very healthy, because uh, the news, it will get very, very, very depressing, very sickening. Yeah. And it's a miracle that we have withstood with all what we've had to read, what all we've had to listen to. Um, it's amazing. And I give credit to, of course, God Almighty, and all the angels that hedge around, all the people that love us, and all of you that share, that have withstood so many years of this nonsense, this real criminal activity, right? And supported us. So we want to say thank you so much, and we love you so much for doing that. And things are really happening because we're at the Woody Hunt level right now. That's really huge. Um, and the Supreme Court level and the president's level. So thank you so much. Please share, and God bless you.